Hello everybody, so this is my first video on cancer in the time of coronavirus. As you can see, my hair was falling out, so we've shaved it. So this is my first video and it's after my second round of chemo. So I'm going to talk a bit about sort of the general kind of how I got to here, and then a little bit about hair loss, obviously, because that's the thing that's sort of most recently pertinent to me. So it all started on the 8th of December. I found a lump in my breast and I went to the doctor the next day, and within 2 weeks I was seen by the breast cancer or the breast clinic at Bart's Hospital. While we thought there and then that it was cancer, I had to wait until early January to get the confirmed diagnosis. But they had to do some extra biopsies. So I've had two surgeries. First of all, I had a lumpectomy and they took out 1 or 2 lymph nodes to biopsy them. Unfortunately, they discovered that the cancer had spread to the lymph nodes. So I had to have a second operation 3 weeks after the first one to remove the rest of the lymph nodes in the area. And my arm's still a bit sore from that. So that was, first operation was the end of February, second operation was 3 weeks later in March. I then went back. They wanted to do some more tests to check the cancer wasn't everywhere else, but they were confident they'd got it out of those areas. So at the moment it's gone from where it was. So then I met the oncologist who decided that the best thing to do was to have chemo. The tests came back and said I was sort of somebody that would respond quite well to chemo, so I had my first session 3 weeks ago and my second session yesterday, so that's kind of where I am, just in terms of the cancer journey generally. Obviously all this has been a bit compounded by the coronavirus, which certainly in January or February the picture of how my treatment would progress looked very different to how it is now, in terms, and also there was not being able to go out is a big thing. There were lots of plans I had made to spend time with friends, and obviously I can't do any of that now. I mean, not that anybody else can, but it's all a bit surreal having to kind of go through the two things at once. And the other major thing is that no one's allowed to come to the hospital with me anymore. My partner came to a lot of my appointments. A couple of friends came to some of my scans. But my partner was coming to all my clinics and to the first round of chemo. But I have to do all of that on my own now because of the coronavirus situation. So that's a bit daunting. I'm not using public transport, so I'm going in a taxi every time. So it's only twice every 3 weeks because I have to go for blood tests the day before, and then as long as the blood counts are okay, because they monitor the blood cells, the white blood count in particular, because of the immune system, which is obviously another thing that's a bit daunting at the moment. But the clinics they're now doing by phone consult, so I don't have to go in a third time, which I would normally. I'm wearing disposable gloves. Luckily, one of the nurses gave me some, but I've managed to order some from Amazon, which arrived about 3 weeks later. I have a few masks because my partner bought 10 beforehand, and a friend very kindly sent me some, so I've got a few of the thin masks. I've tried to order something better, but we're not going to get those till June, some that last 3 months. So I think we've got 4 of those coming in June. Originally ordered to have 2 each, but I think I might have them all, which should see me through, so that could be good. Trying to think what else people might want to know. I mean, it is very odd, as I said, doing all of this at the time I'm doing it, and it's odd because that wasn't what I pictured, and we had certain concerns. We didn't know if the chemo was going to go ahead, whether they were going to delay it, but luckily Bart seemed on top of it, and it's going ahead, and it's so far 2 sessions. I've got 6 more to go. I'm on 2 different chemo drugs. One's a combination of 2, and then I think for the first 4 and then the second 4 will be a different drug. One of the drugs I'm on at the moment is known as the Red Devil, which is the one that's responsible for my hair falling out. Apparently there's 100% hair loss with it if you don't have the cold cap, and that's something I decided not to do because I didn't want to spend an extra couple of hours in hospital at each time, and also there's only a 50% chance it would have worked anyway, so I've just decided to do this. So I guess we're on the hair loss topic now. So yes, I made that decision not to do the cold cap. I was told I was entitled to a free wig, although there's been a bit of a wrinkle with that because the person that does the wigs is working from home. So, and obviously with the coronavirus, they're not sure really it's practical for me to try on 3 wigs. So after a lot of toing and froing, and I haven't spoken to her directly, but somebody has, apparently they will courier me or send me one of the wigs that I can just have, but I don't know when that'll be, but hopefully soon. But I'll mix it up a bit. I've got some scarves and bandanas ordered and turbans, so we'll see what works. So I have to say that everybody at Bart's has been amazing, considering how much pressure they're under. It has been frustrating at times, I won't pretend it hasn't, but obviously it's not their fault, and the situation's changing all the time. There've been lots of long waits, but you kind of have to go with it. I mean, it's been emotional. I won't lie. I've been upset at times and frustrated, but I hope I haven't taken it out on anyone, because I know they're all working incredibly hard, and I'm just so grateful that they're there and they're able to keep going, and they're able to keep the cancer section of the hospital open at this time. I guess I want to finish by sort of going through the steps, the process of the hair loss, and how it felt, and how I've kind of got here to sort of be okay to appear like this. It's been very quick, because it was after the first session, and originally, because I had long dyed blonde hair. Well, it's pink a lot of the time, but I hadn't been able to touch the pink, so the roots were showing. It was long blonde. Bits were coming out, and every time I kind of did that, I'd have like 6 or 7 strands coming out, and then it got worse. In the shower, that was at its worst. Initially, I wasn't waking up to find hair on my pillow, but that changed. But there were several strands when I woke up. It was sort of coming out a bit more and more. And then I had a shower last week, and I have a toweling turban that I put on my head to help it dry. And unfortunately, 2 days previous it had been fine, a bit of hair came out, but the next time, when I took it out, my hair was matted and knotted, and there was a huge clump. All my long hair at the back was just clumped, and my partner tried to untangle it for me, and it just wasn't coming out. I think a lot of loose hair had kind of come in and wrapped around, and there were several knots, so we had no option but to cut the whole thing out, which at that time gave me a bit of a bob, an untidy one. I mean, the hair was top knotted the way it was, and then it just kind of got thinner, and it was it was just thinning on the top. There weren't bald patches as such, but there was a lot thinning on the top. And then the next time I had a shower, there were handfuls coming out. So I went for my blood tests with this kind of straggly bob and a hat. And then that night we just decided to shave it off. So my partner had already bought a head shaver thinking this might happen. So, I'd been a bit teary some of the times. It was quite upsetting. It sort of affected me more than I thought it was going to be honest. But I guess sometimes it's very easy to rationalise about these things, and then when they happen, it's the emotional thing sort of catches up with you. So I was a bit tearful when my partner started just cutting it short, in order to be able to shave it. But once that happened and I saw it, and I kind of thought, guess it doesn't look too bad. And then when he actually shaved it, that was in a way quite liberating, because I knew I wouldn't have to deal with the trauma of all this hair falling out all the time, and it's just gone now. I mean, it's still coming out in very short bits when I do that. You know, when I moisturise, I have to moisturise it every day now, because that's what they say to do. So it takes no time to dry now, which is good. And then I just shove the moisturiser in, and then when my hands are kind of full of bits, so I suspect it's all going to just go on. You know, the number one haircut will disappear as well, and it'll be totally bald. But hey, I am where I am. I think. I suppose I don't have the problem of going out. I'm only allowed out to go to the hospital, so there are too many people seeing me apart from on Zoom, which we all seem to be spending a lot of our lives on Zoom at the moment. But I kind of just thought I'd take the step, and I put it on my Facebook page, and I just thought, yeah, here we are. So I hope that's sort of a bit of an overview to the dealing with cancer and chemo in coronavirus time, and talking a bit about hair loss, which, while being up and down, actually wasn't as bad in some ways as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it upset me more than I thought, which surprised me, but, you know, I don't think it looks too bad. What do you think?